Hi guys, welcome to the Turn and Ripple podcast. My name is Azalea.
My name is Ben.
And today we were talking about the butterfly effect. So the butterfly effect, how would you describe it in the best words?
So I would say that the butterfly effect, right? It's a small little chain reaction that ends up happening, which you don't even expect to happen in the first place, you know? Like, you want to say an example?
So for example, the reason why I have my cat is because I was friends with someone 2 years ago. And the only reason I was friends with that person was because of friends I met at a different school. So let's start from the beginning, right? I started hanging out with this person in my liberal arts school, and we only connected because she lived like directly below me. So we would hang out all the time. And then I went back home and realized that she lives like 20 minutes away from me. Mm. What are the chances of that, first of all?
Dude, yeah, no,
like,
slim to none.
How does that even work? And then we ended up making friends with my roommate's brother, who had a coworker who just so happened to be the reason why I got my cat. So like, it's just compiling levels of like intricacies of like, if this didn't happen, then that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no, exactly. I actually had a pretty like similar experience to that. Not with a cat, but just kind of like the job opportunities that I've like had throughout my days. Because like when I went to community college, I actually went to take an ecology class. Now, from nobody actually wanted to take the ecology class, I'm like, I'll just bite the bullet. I'll take genetics instead. Now, in that genetics class, I ended up meeting one of my friends who ended up being an EMT, who kind of put me on the path to like go get my EMT license and learn about like all that, like myself. And I'm like, that would have never happened unless this opportunity kind of slipped through my fingers, which, hey, I ended up taking ecology anyway, so I can only do something that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but imagine if you didn't meet that person, you never got your EMT license, or like that thing never happened. And even further than that, like you wouldn't have been in that class had it not been for that door closing.
Yeah.
And like thinking about the butterfly effect hand in hand with like one door opens, another one closes, kind of like opportunities arising even when you can't see it. And also to think about like, you don't know those reasons behind why things are happening, even in the moment. And sometimes it takes like a month or 2 months or 3 years to figure out the reasoning behind why that person or why that action happened. And like, it's all about intrinsically thinking about like what those reasons are for yourself. Mm. And one of the pillars of this podcast in general is talking about like everything happens for a reason is a really good quote that is like huge in my life. But the part that I have added on like throughout these years of living is that it's up to you to figure out what that reason is. Yeah. And like no one else is going to hand it to you or say what it is for you.
Mm-hmm. Especially that those reasons you kind of don't even see at first. It's like, is this a blessing? Is this a curse? You don't really know until you realize and kind of just take a second to think to yourself, oh, wow, if this hadn't have happened, maybe this one benefit that I'm getting from it now could have just not been there. You know? Yeah. It kind of reminds me of this one book that I read where it's called Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, which basically talks about how a lot of his experience in his life may have seemed like red lights at a time or yellow lights, but they actually ended up being the things that helped him build his career.
Yeah. And I was talking about that one of my videos that I was doing for this podcast because I was hiking this past weekend, mm-hmm. and there was a couple of sticks in my path and I was walking and I was like, oh, I can just jump over this pile of sticks. Like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. But then you walk down a little bit further down this path and then they put like logs down. So like clearly someone doesn't want you going down this road. So like being able to differentiate between like one door opening and another closing, and also like a boundary that you shouldn't cross is also really important to like see those differences. But you only learn that by like experiencing life.
Yeah, I feel like you have to like end up like messing up a few times and then kind of realizing, so let me not even get on that right now. But sometimes, you know, you go through these experiences in life and it's like, hey, maybe I got a type. Ooh, maybe I should stay away from that. Maybe that's just not something I should mess with. But hey, yeah, even on the 5th time around, you start to learn a thing at a time.
It took 5 times.
Sometimes, I don't learn. I don't learn all the time, you know? But I'm not mad about it. I enjoyed that I have even experienced messing up so many times to know, let me change up the script.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it reminds me of a concept of like, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result, like nothing is going to change because you're putting the same input out in and expecting a different outcome, even though it might not be different. So the answer is to put in a different input and see what the outcome is.
Dude, I love the fact that you said that because I think about that a lot. That's quite literally the definition of insanity.
Or a function.
Ooh, well, tech guys looking like, oh yeah, we're getting scientific up in here.
Well, it's technically calc.
Yeah.
Took 1 year.
took calc 3 times. I took calc 3 times.
I mean, hey man, I've failed a lot of classes in my days. You know, you go back, you change up the script, and it's like, oh, I understand it now. Ooh, I got the whole method, but you know, I didn't the first time.
Yeah. I'm taking
No, this
2
is
different
facts.
classes over again. I took a calculus over the summer, and I'm taking chemistry again because I want to get my GPA higher. So I definitely can relate to like doing things over again. But you know, sometimes it's not the first time.
Yeah, and you know, like math is a pretty hard concept. Like, I'm like, come on, guys. Who knew? I didn't know a damn thing about functions until I took it my 3rd time around, and I'm like, oh, y equals x. Okay, and I know it. No, I know that's some elementary school stuff right there. But it's just like, I don't know. I wasn't really putting 2 and 2 together in my head. But hey, now at least I know it equals 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Some people say it's a window.
It really is.
I don't know what that means.
I was just gonna agree. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that one. But
I think it's something about lines and making a box or something. I don't know. Yes.
no,
So a lot of things hinge on other actions and like other choices. But I think the most important thing to think about in your personal lives is that once those actions and choices get made, like you can't really reverse them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to say, okay, well, I made this decision, and yeah, I can in some cases do it over again.
Yeah.
But some things just you can't redo. You know?
yeah, it's like as much as I would like to like go back in time and like possibly like redo choices that just happen to linger into my head. There's a certain point where you just have to kind of accept what is, you know, and not keep on like harping on the past.
Mm-hmm.
Which, damn, saying that out loud.
We're all working on it, you know.
It's
like this,
true.
as I'm gonna say out of context a little bit outside of this podcast in general, but we are all learning life for the first time. Like there is no right way. I'm just a 23-year-old who thinks that she knows everything. Okay, it's a joke, obviously, but like there are so many different levels to this, and there are so many experiences that I haven't experienced, which is why I'm bringing other people into this podcast so that we can talk about so many different values and life views and like all of these different things that I personally can't relate to on so many different levels. So you'll see a lot of faces and a lot of experiences from all over the place.
Mm-hmm. No, this is facts, and I don't know if this is like sidetracked, but I think it's also cool to like think about back to our parents. You know, like they're from a completely different generation. They've gone through different life experience. I mean, hey, they raised us ourselves. Like we're right now in our 20s. Our parents are out here in our 50s or 60s, and they're getting up there in age. And it's a hard thought, but like we're not always going to see eye to eye. But I like the fact that we always like use that family and love to like kind of see each other's point of view as much as we possibly can.
Yeah. And another thing is that all those people are living life for the first time too. So like sometimes we can get really resentful or like really angry about the way that they treat us or like certain ways of dynamics and whatever. But at the end of the day, we're all on this planet for the first time, even though there are like hundreds of people who came before us. But
Yeah.
for us as a personal level, like we're all living for the first time, and there's no guidebook for this like at all.
No, there is not. It's just trial and error. You know, it's going through life's trials and tribulations, which I don't know, man. There's something about it where I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. You know, like especially we've had one shot at this, man. I'm not gonna say that, but I don't know. Not a lot of people or things even like got this opportunity. You know, like guys, we all won the race, and we all know what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
But it's like a 1 in a billion chance. I think that number even might be too small still.
Of being a human.
Of just being able to consciously exist within this reality.
Oh yeah, like to be able to question all of this around us and say, hey, this doesn't really make sense for me. Like, what do I believe? Like the fact that we even have that conscious level is insanity.
Mm-hmm. Ah, that's deep. No. It's like, oh man, I don't know, because it's a reoccurring thought like every other day, man. It's like sometimes you got to like take a step back from like even your own perspective. It's like, my boy, I love talking to you, bro. It's always like, all right, because you have such a unique like perspective on things, which I could only get out of so many people. like you two, I talk to you every goddamn morning practically, and you're always saying some new shit that I'm like, I really needed to hear that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think we're on the same wavelength for that, which is why we're amazing co-hosts, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that, like, making sure that we're on the same page as far as, like, what we're, you know, doing and everything else.
Yeah.
But, like, being in a helpful mindset is also really great. And, like, trying to say, okay, this is where I'm coming from, and knowing that might not be where you're coming from, but, like, bridging it in a way that's, like, cohesive and also, like, helpful and not criticizing you, like, in any way.
And I respect the mess out of, like, being able, like, especially in today's day and age, being able to, like, just sit down and have a conversation with somebody, even though, like, things aren't always going to line up. I'm not always going to agree with you. You're not always going to agree with me. But it's not turning into, like, this, like, big screaming match. Like, you are trying to see my perspective and I'm seeing yours, and we're trying our best.
Yeah, and, like, making sure that we're coming at it from, like, this place of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I think we can stop it. Do you know how much time is on there? All right, so thinking about things on a larger scale, if it's beyond just you and I's life, right?
Mm.
So we're talking about, like, if, like, someone didn't invite the car, then I wouldn't be able to, like, do this, this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, I wouldn't be able to fly on a plane. Like, can you imagine what the world would look like if, like, technology didn't advance as fast as it did?
Mm.
Or, like, if, I don't know, electricity wasn't a thing, none of this would be possible. Like, are there other things that you can think of that are so huge?
Actually, I definitely could. There's one of them that kind of immediately came to mind, like, looking back into, like, history, even, like, just within the past, I don't know, like, 100 years or so. Like, you never really think about how something like, yeah, World War I, terrible thing, World War II as well, but, like, we would not have even had, like, commercial planes, like, big companies that actually, like, got their startups, like, kind of starting as military companies to now become commercial. Like, you look back at like, the Air Force back in the day, or even, like, a company like Jeep. It's like, that's a very big, like, industry in today's day and age, which wouldn't even have started if they didn't get, like, funding initially, like, from military, which I just think is, like, pretty fascinating, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool to think about, like, history. Like, did you know that in, like, really, like, when we were still doing snail mail, there were sled dogs that were carrying mail across the country, and, like, in Antarctica and stuff, they were taking dogs and, like, making sure the mail got there by, like, shipping it with the dogs.
Wow. Wait, no, that's actually super fascinating. I had no clue. Can you go more into, like, snail mail?
Okay, so snail mail is, like, the USPS service, where in the US you can, like, get mail from different states, like,
Yeah.
via your mailbox. People still use it, obviously, but not nearly as much as they used to, since technology's advanced so much. Part of what I'm trying to do is get off of my devices and back into snail mail and using the postal service. So, like, I'm part of the journaling, U.S. journaling across the Americas, and there's 6 of us that are shipping journals out to each other and, like, adding to it, shipping it to another person, and then adding into it, and then eventually we'll get our own journals back. But back in the times when the internet didn't exist, and, like, times and, like, electricity wasn't a thing, and, like, email was not a thing, snail mail was the most effective way to get a hold of somebody, which is crazy because it would take, like, sometimes months, especially if they're doing it by sled dog. But there was a book and a movie that I read in, like, 4th or 5th grade, and it was touching on like, the process of how they were able to transport mail across the country, especially in those zones when, like, traveling by horse or by car is not safe. I don't even know if they had cars back then. I'm not sure what dates we're looking at, but they would get sled dogs and they would be trained to be able to run as fast as they can across the ice and the snow to be able to get to the next carrier in time. And if they didn't get in time, then the mail would be missed a cycle, and then they would be behind with, like, presents and, like, cards and bills and other things.
So are you kind of saying there's almost like a big chain reaction? It's like if one person messes up, or, like, oh, let's say the horse didn't get to the dog didn't get to the next person, it would just kind of make this, like, this backlog of, like, more and more things. That kind of makes me think, it's like, do you think that all of that from back in the day would have had, like, kind of an effect on how, like, today we have, like, Amazon packages and, like, a bunch of like different, I guess, no longer monopolized carriers.
Yeah, I definitely think you can apply it to many different things, being backlogged and like things just matching up perfectly. To take it even further, like mentally challenging, you can say like, if this certain thing didn't happen by a certain time, then this wouldn't have happened, which is all that we're talking about here in the butterfly effect, in that like the timing of the butterfly effect in itself is so important to think about because it's a missed second. Like one of the things that I like to think about, going back a little bit to personal stuff, is that like when you're late or you can't find your keys, or like you're taking that one extra split second to like get lost a little bit, it might be saving you from something that's like not supposed to happen yet. So like a car crash could happen and you could die, but because you lost your keys or because this thing happened that made you late, you missed that completely. You know what I mean?
Oh, that brings me up. That brings like a really good example that I've like thought of, where it's like, and like I'm gonna make a call out back to another very big historical event, like 9/11. I like heard stories of like people who, like they either like got this feeling or their wife told them, "Hey, you're sick. You haven't missed a day of work this week. Why don't you stay home?" And like seeing like the thing that actually ended up happening that day, it's like, was that just purely by coincidence? Like how had you become that lucky with the butterfly effect when you had this consistent pattern and all of a sudden it's basically like a pin dropping?
That's almost like the opposite butterfly effect.
Oh yeah.
It's like thinking about it in a complete different way. But even just like so for example, 9/11 specifically, my boyfriend's parents, they were on a flight from a different part of the country, and they had a layover at JFK. So not only were the chances of them like being there slim, because like when are they ever traveling outside of that event, but the fact that they landed in the like JFK at the time when the towers were getting destroyed, like what are the chances of that? So the way that they got out of the situation, because obviously, you know, the planes were grounded, you can't get anywhere. Like there's nowhere to go. You're basically stuck in New York City with like crumbling towers and like nowhere to go. They called the company that rents the cars out, because you can reserve a car ahead of time by calling this national number. And so while they were sitting there, they called them on one of the like wall phones or like
like
phone booths. And they called them, and they happened to reserve a car. So they went down into the basement or wherever the cars are stored, and they were like, there's a huge line because everyone's trying to get cars to get out of the city. And they basically were the only ones that had reservations. So they were like, okay, here's this gigantic line. Does anyone have reservations? Please come out. Like, we need to get you to the car. And no one else had reservations, just them. And then they were like, hey, we're going up to Vermont, because they live up in the top part of our state.
Oh, yeah. The Adirondack area?
Yeah. So they were driving up that way anyway. So they asked a bunch of people if they wanted to get in the ride. And they ended up taking a couple back up. So the chances of them, 1, being there, 2, getting a car, and 3, like the chances of that couple being in that car with them is also like wild.
Yeah, it's like kind of like, I guess, I don't know if the perfect storm is like the best way to put it, but it's like those small little things that you like kind of like would have just go over your head, which ends up benefiting you like quite well in the long run.
Yeah, talking about perfect storms, if you think about, okay, so in school we're learning about like evolution and where we started from, and like the primordial soup, I think it's called. What are the chances that those certain elements just so happen to be in that water, like in the right, like scientists only just figured out what they needed to do to get that to be replicated, and they've only done it once as of right now on September 2nd of 2025. They've only done it once. So like the chances of it happening and then being able to spawn life and then being able to create more life from that, I know people might disagree with me, but you know, like the idea that we all started from this like microorganism and then grew into who we are as a society today is crazy.
Like I like to talk about the Big Bang a lot because you go all the way back and first off, Big Bang happens. I'm not even trying to go. I'm not even trying to go like past knowing that, but the fact that like the elements or hydrogen all goes together, multiplies inside of some type of giant star reactor, gets spewed across the universe. Who knows? With the Earth being like in this big like fiery ball state, magma shooting up all over the place, even more asteroids from billions of years coming in, hitting the planet, getting more and more of these like random small amounts of elements, and then from those elements mixing together and making this greenhouse effect, and then getting the like a certain special type of pressure because that's what they find out. They use like this type of valve. I think it was like in the 1900 at some time, where they found out that under these specific conditions with the pressure and such, with these certain type of elements, with a little bit of water, it ended up making this like bacterium, which like was kind of living. And then they realized with that being able to evolve over like hundreds, thousands, millions of years to make something like one of us in this room, and it just can't keep adding up. It's like, what are the odds of that? Just from one mess up, But it happened to be the best mess up of our lives.
Yeah, quite literally. It's also crazy to think about, like, there are no other planets that we know of in our universe, or like as of right now, that have life like ours. Like, we have searched like the planets close to us. We've sent out drones, we've sent out like spaceships and everything else to search for it, and we've came back with absolutely nothing. And the fact that, one, we are able to exist, and two, like, it blows my mind when I think about it too hard.
Dude, like, and like just thinking like back to the solar system, it's like how did we even get like such a head start on it? Because I know, or Kevin, you could fact check me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that they said like on Mars, like they have found bacteria. And if we like started out kind of as some bacteria itself and it just kept multiplying on top of itself, like if we could like look into the future like a billion years or so, like what makes it seem so crazy that something like us won't also end up being there? And like kind of a little bit of a side note, but like even like how the Earth or the sun you hear keeps like getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and how there's been so much time for shit to go down. Like it makes you think, like, what if Mercury was once a type of planet to be in the Goldilocks zone and be able to support? And like, okay, maybe Mercury's a bit of a stretch, but
No,
even
that's
like
a concept.
Venus. Huh?
It's a concept that all the planets in our solar system went through the Goldilocks zone in the coalescing of our solar system.
Yeah.
Like, it's a theory that like conspiracy theorists and other crazies have thought up, that other planets, when the solar system was coming together, other planets were coming closer to the sun due to the gravitational pull, and then at some point they all, at least up to Earth at this point, they all have passed through the Goldilocks zone, and it's possible that in the time that they spent in that region, like at that radius, that it was possibly potentially habitable for a form of life to exist. But even that I think is very interesting, because we're only thinking about life in the form of humans, like sentient conscious life in the form of humans. Like, we don't know what squids are thinking, we don't know how they think.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to start that conversation right now. That's a whole other episode in itself, how smart animals are, and like the like measures of values and stuff that we use to compare that is a whole other conversation that I would love to start another day. But what I wanted to say was the entire reason why we're alive and like on this planet is because of water.
Yeah.
And that loops right back into like how this podcast started and the thought processes behind it. If you guys don't know already, it's called the Eternal Ripple. And rippling as in like you drop something into the water and like it affects everything, and like that stays with you, and also it never ends. Like in this cycle of life, one person is born and then they die, and then we have more people that are born and then they die, and all of these experiences are so similar, but not quite exactly the same. And what are the chances of that? Like the similarity is there, but they're never quite identical. Like my life will do all of the things that I'm going to do in my life, and you're going to do all the things that you're going to do in your life. But those decisions and those choices and those like minute things you do day to day change what your life outcome is. And like it's all about that essentially.
It's like just thinking about like how we all have our own experiences, our own life, but it ends up being we all come into this life one day and we all die one day. Straight up.
We're all just contributing to the vibrations that are happening in the universe.
All contributing to the vibrations in the universe. Yes.
Those are our ripples.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to think about it. And so many different like analogies and metaphors and endless ways to compare. So I don't know. I like being able to think I like being conscious.
Yes.
I like to round it all out. I like being conscious. I like being alive. I'm glad to be a human in this day and age, even though sometimes I get a little frustrated. But
I mean, hey, throughout time, we've all had our struggles. I mean, hey, I'm not fending me and my family from some saber-toothed tiger. But I mean, hey, sometimes I got to go outside and just cross the road because some psychopath's driving down at 60 miles an hour. We all got our struggles.
We're defeating the odds.
Beating the odds, yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I mean, it's interesting to think like our ancestors had so many different things that they were struggling with, and we have things that we're struggling with. But like those same anxieties, those fears, the feelings that we're feeling are very similar, even though the things that are causing those stressors are very, very different.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh damn, I gotta go to school tomorrow. Oh, I got a test. Oh, I gotta make sure I hunt a deer tonight to make sure I can put that on my table.
And deadlines were like there back then too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
If you didn't do something by a certain time, if you didn't catch that deer, if you didn't find that food, then your family would like starve and die. Mm-hmm. Like those stressors are very much feeling the same pressure, even though a test is not nearly as detrimental.
it's not so life threatening, but hey, sometimes bro, times get rough. I can't argue that, you know. It's like, hey, I got my GIS homework tomorrow. I hate maps, and I'm just like, oh god.
For those who don't go to environmental science school, GIS is the what is it specifically?
It's
geospatial.
It's a global mapping system.
Global mapping systems. Basically, we are given data and we have to put it on a map in a way that like makes sense and is readable. But sometimes we don't even know what we're reading. So
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Okay.
Yo, that's the eternal ripple.
Hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate.
Thank you.
All right, peace out.